UNIQUEAKUDO in life already.
Yeah.
I see the button. I'm trying to get a better angle. Yeah, not the best.
Okay. Hello to all my uniques out there. I think we are online. Hello to all my uniques out there. This is your favorite girl, Akudo. Welcome to Real Talk with Unique. For today, our topic is Biden's new immigration law. To all my returning subscribers, which is something is not right. I'm not on Zoom. I am on Facebook. I should be out of this place.
You are on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I should be out of this place and back to Zoom like I normally do. That's what I wanted you to go to. Okay. Sorry, guys, for the technical confusion. Hello to all my uniques out there. This is your favorite girl, Akudo. Welcome to Real Talk with Unique. For today, we're going to talk about Biden's new immigration law. To all my returning subscribers, hello and welcome back. For those of you that are not part of my family, what are you waiting for? You watch all the videos, you might as well come and join us. You see the red button that says subscribe, click on that button. Wait for the notification bell. Click on that one too, so you will be the first to see my videos once they drop. We have a legal mind. She's no stranger to Unique. You guys have seen her. Whenever we talk about legal things, we call attorney Dr. Mrs. Opara into the building. Miss Opara is in the building. Miss Opara, introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Ijeoma Opara. Welcome to the Unique Show.
Miss Opara, tell us a little bit, what we're going to talk about today is legal stuff. So tell them a little bit what you do, who you are, and then we go from there.
Yeah, hi. I'm an attorney at law based in Houston, Texas. I own the Opara Law Firm PLLC. We're located here in Texas. We are immigration attorneys, criminal law attorney. We also practice in the area of civil litigation and family law. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, welcome to the building. Now let's go straight into it. So many of my viewers keep writing, especially people, Africans in diaspora, they keep asking me, oh, what is this new law about? What is Biden proposing? What is it all about? I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about what Biden is proposing. So I had to bring to you guys somebody that knows what Biden is proposing. How does it affect us? How does it, affect your path to citizenship and everything? So Dr. Opara is going to break it down. First of all, let us go to this. My first question is, what is this proposal all about? Is it a law or just a proposal? Before we even go further.
At this point, it is a proposal which we call a bill that is being proposed by the current president, Biden. It hasn't gone into law yet. It has to go through the process to become law. But right now, it's just a proposal. It's a bill that he's proposing, like one of his rollout for immigration reform.
Okay. So my people, you hear that, because most of you think the law has already been passed. It's just a proposal. It has to go through whatever they need to make it into a law. So now let's go with the first question. What is the pathway to citizenship? When we hear that word, pathway to citizenship, what is Biden new immigration law talking about? What does that mean?
The pathway to citizenship is what I call it, but it is part of the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, which is President Biden is proposing. Under this bill that he is proposing, there are several ways that can get you to be legal in the United States, especially for undocumented people that reside in the United States.
Okay,
One of such ways, depending on where you are at any particular time, but one of the requirements is that as long as you are in the United States, coming 1st January 2021, you may qualify for some of these ways that you can get your legal status.
So if somebody came into this country December 5th, 2020, is that person qualified?
Not under the law. There's certain requirements that you have to meet.
Oh, okay.
Those requirements is the number of years you have resided in the US.
In the US. Oh,
yes.
Okay. So another one I wanted to say, what are the requirements for those who are interested in this path to citizenship? What is required of them?
One of the things that you need to do is, one, like I mentioned before, you have to show that you were in the United States on or before January 1, 2021. So that's one of the requirements. Then you have to show that you have been able to, you may be able to get a work authorization. You may also be able to apply for travel documents. You may also be able to get what we call provisional legal status. However, you have to show that you have resided in the US for 3 years or 5 years, depending on your classification, for you to get this legal status. These are for people that reside in the US already.
That are already here.
That are already here.
Okay.
So not those coming after January, those that are already here January 1st, 2020. I mean, 2021.
Somebody say you have to pay taxes. Is taxes one of the requirements?
If you are trying to go to citizenship, first of all, you have what we call provisional legal status.
Okay.
That's what allows you to get a work authorization, allow you to have travel documents to travel and meet up with your family members abroad. To get that provisional legal status, if you show that you have been in the US with that status for 5 years, then you can get your permanent resident card, which is green card.
Okay. So after the green card, you now go for your citizenship.
Yes, when you have that status, those are of us that have been in the US for 3 years, fall into DACA. DACA is what we call the dreamers.
Okay.
Okay, or people have TPS, which is what we call the temporary protective status. Okay. Certain countries qualify for that.
Okay.
Or those that are farm workers. That way, those people, if they have already been in the US for at least 5 years, they can get their green card.
Okay. So another question here say, how does this new bill affect certain status? You mentioned the DACA, you mentioned the temporary protective farm workers. So tell us a little bit, how does this new proposal affect, first of all, the DACA? Who is a DACA, the dreamers? Who are those people?
DACAs are dreamers. Those are people that were brought in by their parents when they were young. So they grew up in the US. Okay. They went to school, like high school, elementary, primary school, high school, everything in the US. The problem with this type of people is because they were brought in when they were so young. They lived in the US thinking that they are citizens. They went to school in the US. They did everything in the US, but once they graduate high school, they are move forward because they do not have papers.
Okay.
So that's why during the Obama regime, he made this DACA rule to help them to be able to have some kind of work permit so that they can be productive citizens. So now Biden is taking it a little further under his own regime to see if these people can get their legal status.
Okay, so Obama just moved it a little bit for them to have work authorization to work. But Biden has moved the envelope a little bit where instead of just working, they can have legal status in here.
Yes, that's what he's proposing in his bill.
So what about temporary protective? Who are the temporary? Is it temporary protective? Is it
temporary protective? Yes, TPS is what we call them.
Okay.
Temporary protective status.
Okay.
Which is TPS, belong to people from certain countries who are either at war or have unrest or have issues in their country where it is not safe for them to return. So they ran to the US. So while they are here, US is giving them temporary protective status. Those kind of people have resided in this country for years also because of the situation in their country of origin. This law will also help them to now get status. Okay. Certain states, they can be allowed to do that, but that's not a universal law. This law will help them to be able, if it is passed, will help them to be able to get their legal status in the United
States. So some states give them, why some don't, but this law will give everybody who applies.
Yes, some states allow them.
Okay, allow
because
them.
they look at that temporary protected status as entry into the US. Some states allow that through their own, but this law will help every one of them, wherever they are, if it doesn't matter the state, to be able to, if it is passed, to be able to get legal status in the US.
What about farm workers? How does it affect farm workers?
The same thing applies to farm workers. If they are also doing their, we have seasonal workers that come to the US to help with farm work, all these fruits and things that we, they have temporary status. They come in, they go. But under this law, when they come in now, they can get their legal status and reside in the US.
Okay. So why does this bill seek to remove the term alien? And what does that mean for us? For those of us that are, from the diaspora, other countries, what does that mean? Why does the bill propose for them to take out that word alien? Why?
Well, alien, as we all know, connotes out of this world. And I think because it means you are like an alien, just like the word.
Yes.
You're an alien, you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
But it allows for certain inhumane treatment to happen because they think, oh, you are not human.
You are not human. Okay.
Because you are an alien.
Yes.
So that connotation has affected the way undocumented people are being treated. Yeah. So this law is proposing that instead of calling them undocumented, because even in our applications, some of the US applications for immigration, they are actually called petition for alien relative. This for alien that for alien that. So it makes it like remove that these are not human beings.
Yeah,
but when you say non-citizen or undocumented persons, you humanize it. That's like, you make them look like, okay, these are human people that are in the US, even though they don't have papers. So that's what he's proposing to do with that kind of change.
Okay, my people, I hope you guys are listening. Everybody wanted to know. Now we have a lawyer in our midst. The next question says, what does those immigrants who were deported during Trump's administration, does this bill cover them? Those immigrants that were deported during Trump's administration, does this proposed bill cover them?
Yes, this bill will also cover them if they can show that they were in the US for 3 years prior to their deportation. Then this is also a pathway for them to get some kind of legal status.
Wow, so they can come back?
Yes, they can come back.
They were here for 3 years.
That's correct. If they can show that they lived here and they were not deported. These are people that are admissible. I must put that out there.
Okay.
Not all persons that fall into this category is admissible. So you have to be admissible into the US. No criminal issues like major criminal crimes and stuff like that. If you clear that criteria, then you can be able to apply and benefit under this law once it is passed.
Okay, how would this bill impact petitioners who are waiting for their spouse or family members to come over to the US?
That's what I said.
Family back there.
Yes, so I say that this bill is also a family unification bill because it's bringing families together. Under the proposal or the bill that our President Biden is proposing, those people who fall into the category, some people have been separated for years, and their application, even though the I-130, which is the first petition, has been approved, they are still residing in foreign countries, separated from their parents, separated from their mothers, separated from their spouses, separated from family members, their loved ones. So this bill, if passed, will help those people to come into the United States because their petitions are already in process, and some of their petitions have already been granted but not fully adjudicated. So they'll come here through that waiting period that they are waiting outside the country, inside the US, with their loved one, while the petition is being processed. This is really a very sweeping thing if that bill is.
This is good
because it will bring family together. Yes.
Wow. So what is it? Another person asked, what if I overstayed my visa? What if I came in here with a 2-year visa? I have stayed 4 years. My visa has expired. I can't go back. I am stuck here. Does this proposal cover me too?
Yes. This proposal covers overstays. We consider you to have overstayed if you have stayed more than 6 months, which is 180 days, past the time that you were allowed to stay. If you leave out, that is the main law that we have in the United States Immigration Act, is that when you leave out, you are barred from coming into the US for 3 years. And like the example you were giving, if you have stayed more than that, like up to 2 years, if you leave out, you could be barred for 10 years coming back into the US. But under this law, that ban will be lifted. So if you overstay, you will not face that if you go back to your country. You'll be free to come back to the US or leave to your country, and you will not fear coming back. Even though we have what we call 245I, that was also helping to elevate the overstay, but those are people that were grandfathered into the law under the old law. But this law will help to open it more up for people that have overstayed, so that they can live out if they want to, or stay in the US and meet the criteria and legal status.
Okay, let me ask you a question here. What about somebody that is a citizen here, but the mom has green card, and the mom left for, let's say, Nigeria, and the mom has overstayed. She has been in Nigeria like for almost 8 years, but she wants to come back. Does this in any way, does she go back to go apply for visa, or does she get grandfathered in with this bill? What will the person do?
Well, in that case, the law is still the same. When you have your green card, which we call a permanent resident permit, you are trying to let us know that your intent is to reside in the US.
Okay.
So if you want to live out for any reason, you should ask for permission to live out.
Wow.
Yes, if you're going to overstay, so what am I saying? If you're going to stay more than a year outside the country, you should ask for permission to live out. If you live out without permission and you stay more than a year, it is assumed that you have abandoned that intent. However, depending on circumstance, some people live abroad and they can't travel. So if it is within range, maybe a year or 2 or 3, you may be able to show extenuating circumstances. However, if you have stayed abroad 8 years, it's going to be very difficult to show that intent, extenuating circumstances. So you may have to, reapply.
Over. Okay, the next question says, what about the 1-year deadline for asylum application?
That's one of the good things about this proposal if it passes as law. The 1-year deadline means that once you come into the US and you're seeking asylum, you have 1 year to apply for asylum.
Okay.
After the 1 year, if you do not apply for asylum, you lose the right. However, there are certain exceptions to the rule. And you have to show extenuating circumstances why you did not apply within the 1-year deadline.
In the 1 year, okay.
Yes. You could have been sick since you came in. Other things could have been happening. Ignorance is not one of those, but some circumstances that show this is the reason why I wasn't able to apply within the year. But those are very, they're like uphill tasks. They're difficult to show because of the way this is very strict on the 1-year deadline. But according to this proposal, that deadline will also be lifted. That way, when you come into the US and you're claiming asylum, you're free to claim your asylum even after a year of being into the US. That is very good for a lot of people coming from different countries, no knowledge of what is going on, who came here maybe because they were smuggled in, or the process that they came in, they've been ill, lying in the hospital and doing other things. So it's easier for them to apply if this bill is passed. Yes.
Wow, this bill covered a lot of areas.
That's why I said it was it's a sweeping. It's a sweeping, it's gonna cause sweeping changes if it goes through.
Okay, the next one says, will employment-based visas be impacted?
Yes. This bill does not only impact family base, which we have been talking about, family. It also impacts employment base. It has increased several things. Before, H-1B, which is a class of employment based visa, will not be able, their spouses or dependents do not work because they are not the ones that are directly under the yes.
Okay.
But now, this law will allow them to work and contribute to the family and help. The essence of this law, actually, what I'm reading from it, is not very clear. Nothing has been explained throughout because it's still a bill that is proposed. So all the guidelines have not been set out. But when you read it, you can see that it's mostly to make sure that people that are in the United States are productive, working, and contributing, paying their taxes, and contributing to the society.
Because when they are not working and they are hiding, they are being paid under the table. American government is not getting anything.
Yes, they are losing out.
Losing. But with this bill, if it passes, everybody will be contributing their own quota towards the system.
Right.
All right. The next one says, what about those people who graduated from university in the United States? I know of somebody, he came from Nigeria into this country. His father is paying his school fees. He has graduated now, and they want him to leave. He does not want to leave, but he doesn't have the papers to stay. So what about them? Are they covered under this new proposal?
They will be covered under this program because you come here and you obtain your degree and graduate. Then you have to leave out because you're just an F visa student who just came in for studies. They do allow you under certain circumstances to work a year or two in your field of study before you're now required to leave out. This law will lift that up for graduates where they can now reside here and get work permit to work and contribute to the society. Yeah, so that is really very interesting. If this bill passes, that will help out a lot.
Yeah,
all those that are in that situation.
And most of my uniques out there, especially my African brothers and sisters that are in college, you guys are in school, you have graduated, you don't know which way to go, you don't want to go back. So you keep praying that this law passes because like you heard from her, you will be covered. You'll be given at least authorization to go work and contribute to the economy. So that's a good one. What about the age out requirement?
That's also very interesting because some of these immigration benefits, if you do not apply immediately as a dependent, you will lose out, which means, sorry, not lose out, age out. You will not age out of the system. So sometimes we have to scramble to put in this application to do this, to do that, because this person is about to age out.
The age is about to age out.
Age out, you know, some of them is 18 years, some 21 years, you know, you age out from the, like this H-1B visa that I mentioned. If a dependent turns, is about to turn 21, they will age out. They will not be on their father's or their mother's a petition anymore. And they cannot apply on their own because they are not really under any category. They are dependent of an H-1B visa. So those kind of people will now benefit under this law when it passes because they don't have to worry about aging out. Once the time comes, they can now apply on their own to get work permit, get this provisional legal status, which will now lead them after a certain number of years, 3 years, to be able to get their green card, or 5 years to be able to get their green card. So that's really the process. It's a pathway to citizenship.
Okay. So how does this proposed bill impact U visas, and what is U visa?
Well,
for those of us that don't know it, what is U visa?
U visa is a class of visa that are given to people that are undocumented, that live in the US, who are victims of crimes. So they are victims of crime, like, you know, assault, robbery, that kind of crime. And they have helped the police to bring to judgment.
Yeah, they have helped get the bad ones. Okay.
Yes, they have helped the police to get the culprits.
The culprits, okay.
Yes, to be able to get the accusers or the culprits or the people that committed that crime, help them extensively to bring them to justice. So this is a way to encourage them, because before, people that are undocumented will not go to the police.
Yeah, because they are scared of being
because of fear of deportation, yes, or removal. So this law is to encourage to come out and help the police to solve crimes. And in addition, in exchange, they will get what we call U visas. And the U visa is good if it is approved, but it must be approved with what we call with permission or with a statement, attestation from the police that you helped out. That's one of the requirements. So once you get this U visas approved, then that U visa applicant will be able to reside in the US and work. And after 5 years, they can, this is under the old law, they can now apply to get their green card.
Okay, but please make something very clear to them. If you saw the crime or you were present, that's when you go help the police. You don't just go be a busybody and just say you want a U visa and go give information that is false. That is straight way to deportation.
No, you have to be a victim, not see or hear.
Oh, so you have to be a victim. Okay, make it very clear. Make it very clear, because some of us will say, oh, I think they committed the crime down the street. Let me go testify for U visa.
You have to be a victim, and this visa is also good because you can also, your dependents can also benefit through the U visa.
Okay.
Your dependents can also benefit.
So if the mother was a victim, so the children
can also be applied as a derivative, like dependents, and they can be derivative and get the U visa too. So that is also good, but it is capped at 10,000 a year. So under this new proposal, that they are proposing to increase it to 30,000. So if they increase that to 30,000, that means that 30,000 people can qualify under that U visa category.
Okay, so that's good. Wow, this proposal is really good.
It's sweeping.
He said, how does this proposed bill impact the visa lottery system?
Yes, under the visa lottery system, which is what we call diversity lottery program. Under the diversity lottery program, will have certificates are eligible for their citizens to apply to come and live in the US through that program.
Okay.
However, that program is not every country. And some countries that used to be on there, like Nigeria, have met their quota and they have left. They're not giving to them anymore because they have actually made their.
We have met our quota
and overpassed. But some other countries like Congo and some other West African countries are still within their their limits, so they are still getting those visas processed. Under this law, which is what you asked me, under this proposed bill, they are going to be getting those visas now in a more, because the cap was at 30,000 or 40,000 before. But right now, the proposed bill is going to raise it between 65 to 85,000.
Whoa, that's a lot.
So that's a lot. So it has increased the number of those kind of visas that can. So because of that, they may get some more countries to start joining. Or those that are already there, we have a bigger gap on who they can bring in. So that it's just some of the sweeping things that are going on with that, and the U visas, they've increased the number that you can get.
Okay, what about processing centers for refugees?
Yes, under this law, they are proposing to create more centers around borders so that it will be easier for refugees to come into the US. They don't have enough right now, and what they have is practically shut down under the old administration. So right now they're trying to create more room for people that are seeking refuge in US to be able to come in. That's what US is really known for. It's a land of sojourn where people go to seek refuge. Yes, really, that's what it's meant to be, and that this law is proposing to do that again, if it is passed.
What about the travel bans? Have they been lifted?
That's one of the ones that are actually going straight into effect.
So he already did that one.
Yes, he assigned that as an executive order.
Okay.
And lifted, because really, we don't know. I know President Trump said that this was to stop for the safety of the country. But there was no evidence really to show that these people were at issue, or Muslims or some of these African countries were a problem to the US. So really, those laws were not really fair on people. And you know how we are. America is really, America is like the world, just put it that way. We cannot just shut our borders. Yes, we must close our border to a certain extent. Everybody cannot live in the US. But we have to open our borders to people that are helping to build this country. This country is a country of foreigners. So they have to have a way to come in. So the travel ban was an issue because people couldn't travel freely coming from certain countries. And some of those people are US citizens. Some of them are green card holders. Some of them are people that are legally in the US. They're not illegal people. So that has affected the relationship, everything else adversely. So this law, so Biden made an executive order within the first time that he came into office. That was one of his early proposal for his first 100 days in office. To lift those ban that stopped those Muslim countries and some African countries. And that ban has already been lifted.
Okay. And then finally, say, from everything you have said, what does this mean for the undocumented immigrant living in the United States currently? If this law is passed, you've talked about DACA, you've talked about temporary protective status, you've talked about the farmers, you've talked about people that came here to go to school, you've talked about, students from the university, everything you've talked about. So what now generally? This is now for you to put everything together. Generally, what does it mean for the undocumented immigrant that is currently living in the United States of America?
If you're currently living in the United States of America and you have been here, then this proposed bill is for you. So number one, this proposed bill will help you to get a work permit. It will help you to get a document. It will help you to get provisional legal status. Once you have your provisional legal status and you reside here and you have no criminal history and you do your job, you pay your taxes, you are just an ordinary citizen, after 5 years, you can get your green card. If you have your green card, after 3 years, if you can pass the civic test, the English test of the US citizenship exam, you can become a citizen. That's why I called it a part-time citizenship. So it's like a gradual process. You start from the provisional, you get to the next one, and then you get to the next one. Meanwhile, every other law that is also available for you, spouses, parents, those laws are still in the books. This is just so this law is actually to help people who are illegal. It's mostly geared towards those who are living in the US illegally, to bring them out of the shadows so that they can be productive citizens of the United States, contribute, pay their taxes, work, have status to work. And eventually that can lead them to citizenship if they follow the rules and do the right things and stay away from trouble.
So what about, let me ask you this final one. What if I came into this country as a child? I've gone through the school, but I did what you guys call it a felony or whatever. I'm involved in crime. Will I be deported, or can I also go through this part of citizenship?
It depends on the type of crime. Okay. We have crimes that we call crime of moral turpitude. Okay. We have crimes that we call aggravated felony. If you commit those will also prevent you from benefiting from this law. However, if you haven't committed any of these crimes, or you have like minor offenses that happen, maybe juvenile delinquencies or small offenses that do not rise to this level of crime against moral turpitude or aggravated felony or those kind of crimes, you will benefit from this type of law also if it is passed.
Okay. So my people, you guys have it. She did a video, and after this video, I'm going to attach the next video, but I wanted her to come in person so that when you listen to her, then you go watch the video. Somebody out there is watching, somebody is listening to you, and they say, I want to hire this lady to help me when this law is passed. Can you tell them where they can get you, your website, your email address, your phone number? I'm going to put it all in the description box, but I also want you to tell them in case somebody out there is saying, she knows what she's talking about. How do I get her?
Yes, like I said, I'm an attorney at law working out of the Opara law firm PLLC that is in Houston, Texas. Our physical address is 4420 Cypress Creek, Pkwy, suite number 103, Houston, Texas, 77068. Our phone number is 281-895-8003. My mobile number is 832-693-1052. And if you need help with any of the things that we talked about, like I said, I'm an immigration lawyer, and you saw me through this video or through the video that you're going to post, then I'm willing to give discounts of at least 10% discount to get you so that we can get this thing moving as soon as this thing is passed. Even that was done can also help with consular processing in the country of origin. So that's what we do. So call us at the Opera Law Firm, and we're there to help out.
All right. Another thing I'll ask before I leave you. Most of them will say you said Houston, Texas. Explain to them immigration can be filed from anywhere, right?
That is correct. Immigration is universal. It's a nationwide process, and you can go anywhere. Any attorney that is licensed to practice in any state can practice immigration law. So I have clients from Georgia. I have clients from Arkansas. I have clients from Tennessee. I have clients from Chicago. So anywhere you can meet with us and we can file your paperwork. We can also represent you if you're in removal process. We can represent you anywhere you are.
So what is removal? Now that you have talked about that. I'm
under
sorry,
under the old law,
get the information. What is removal?
Yes, under the old law,
okay,
it is called deportation.
Okay.
But when there was another sweeping change in the immigration law in 1996, which we call the IRA law, it changed it to removal instead of deportation or suspension of removal. You change it to instead of deportation, it changed it to removal. So when you are in a removal proceeding, which means that you are now before the judge, an immigration judge, who is going to remove you.
Remove you out of the state.
Remove you from the United States, which is like deportation. So that's what removal means. So we also handle removal cases before immigration judges, where we can file your relief. Any of this relief that we talked about, we can file another relief that are in the books. We can file on your behalf before the immigration judge, or we can also help you file before United States citizenship, service.
All right, guys, you have it. I told you guys whenever I do Real Talk with Unique, I always bring you guys the best because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. Everybody wants to know what is this bill all about. I don't know what it's about. I'm learning as you guys are learning. So remember, I'm going to leave her information in the description box. Call her. If you need more explanation, I'm going to post a video. I think it's like a 9 or 10 minutes video. Everything she said here, she explained it there. But I wanted you guys to hear the questions so that some of us are visual learners, we are audio learners, we need to see, we need to hear before. So I had to bring her. To all my subscribers, all my uniques out there, remember, you are beautifully and wonderfully made by God. That is why you are unique. Be kind to yourself and to each other. Ijeoma, any last thing before we end?
Thank you so much for having me. Remember, you can reach us at our phone number, 281-895-8003, or feel free to call my cell phone anytime, 832-693-1052. Thank you.
All right, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.